Um, Before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakodash, Yahweh, which is the one true name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one true name is Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who will well and teach well, because those are the men who I've learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Irazakah from the servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And pretty much, I was going to tell people to go down and watch my previous videos to the first part of Daniel 7, but through the Spirit, I decided to break down from verse 1 all the way to verse 8, because I just broke down, I used my notes a little bit, and I broke down verse 9 through 28. So now I'm going to do the first part, because I got so many videos uploaded on my channel, it might be hard for individuals to find the first part. So to make it easier for people, I decided to do the first part. So we're going to do the first part again. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. And this lesson is going to be titled as Daniel 7, breakdown from verse 1 all the way to verse 8. So Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. This is Daniel 7 and 1. It says, in the first year of Belshazzar, the king of Babylon. King Belshazzar was the last king to rule in Babylon. He was taken down by Darius the Mede when you read Daniel, the 5th chapter. All right, he was taken down by Darius the Mede. He was killed by Darius the Mede. And I'm going to get that out, Daniel 5, and we'll start at verse... Actually, I'll start up, because I always start at verse 28. But we'll start up, actually, and go down to 31. We'll start at verse 24. This is Daniel 5 and 24. It says, then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this writing was written, and this is the writing that was written, Mene, Mene, Tekel, Usfarsin, Salakia. This is the interpretation of the thing, Mene. It says, Yahweh have numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, it says, thou art weighed in the balance and art found wanting. Verse 28, it says, Paris, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. See, so this is the Babylonian Empire, and they were taken down by the Medo-Persian Empire. You had the Medes that came first, and then the Persians. That's why it says Medes and Persians, because you had the Persians, you had the Medes that came first, then you had the Persians that came after, and the Persians, they were mightier, right? That's why it says one was high on one side, lifted up on one side. That's talking about the Persians there. The Persians was greater. You had the Medes, and then you had the Persians, and the Persians were mightier. They were greater. Verse 29, it says, then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet, and put a chain of gold about his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him, that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. Verse 30, in that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain. See, King Belshazzar was the last king to rule in Babylon. He was killed by Darius the Mede. And Darius the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. See, so Darius the Mede, he took down King Belshazzar. He killed him. So King Belshazzar was the last king to rule in Babylon. So let's read it again. Daniel 7 and 1. It says, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head about his bed, right? It says, then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter, right? So pretty much he was recounting on what he saw in his dream, in his vision. And then he told the sum of the matter, meaning, like what brothers do in the truth. When they have dreams, they may have dreams of Jacob trouble. They may have dreams of the chariots. They may have dreams, of the elect receiving the crowns, etc. That's pretty much what Daniel was doing in this verse. Verse 2, it says, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, four winds of heaven strove upon the great sea. And the great sea, that's talking about the Mediterranean Sea. Verse 3, it says, and four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. And the four beasts, that's a representation of the four major empires. So when you read, and four great beasts came up from the sea, that's the representation of the four major empires. The the Babylonian Empire, Salakia, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, and the Roman Empire. Those are the four major empires. We're going to prove that. Let's go down to verse 17. Right? And it says, these great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. See? So the four great beasts, as you see right here, is talking about the four major empires. The Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, and the Roman Empire. That's what that's talking about. Verse 4, it says the first was like a lion. This is the first beast. It says the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. This is talking about the Assyrian Empire. Let's prove it. I want to give an example. So we're going to go to Google. For edification purposes, it's good to edify. Go to Google and look up Assyrian art. Make sure I'm spelling it right. Salakia. Let me see. See that? This is what it's talking about. The Assyrian Empire, right? So let's read that again. And it said, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. This is talking about the Assyrian Empire, the Neo-Assyrian Empire. See that? See? Like a lion and had eagle's wings. So it's talking about the Assyrian Empire. All right? And the Assyrians, they came in around the year 720 BCE. Right? It says the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. This is talking about the Assyrian Empire. It says, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and the wings thereof was plucked. This is talking about the overthrowing of the Babylonian Empire. That the Babylonian Empire took down the Assyrian Empire. All right. So the wings that were plucked, that was the rising of the Babylonian Empire. And it says, and it was lifted up from the earth. And it was lifted from the earth because this was the taking over, the rising of the Babylonian Empire. The Babylonian Empire, they took over the Assyrian Empire. So you had the Assyrian Empire, the Babylonian Empire. The Babylonian Empire took over the Assyrian Empire. That's one empire. And it says, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man. And it made feet upon, it says it made stand upon the feet as a man. That's talking about Nebuchadnezzar. All right, he was great in his might. It says, and a man's heart was given unto it, right? Because he was great. Nobody was, didn't stand a chance against Nebuchadnezzar. He was mighty in that time, right? That's talking about Nebuchadnezzar. Verse 5, it says, and behold, right? It says, and behold, another beast, a second. And this is talking about the Medo-Persian Empire, right? It says, like a bear, and it says, and it rised up itself on one side, right? Because when you go to Daniel, the 8th chapter, it talks about the ram with the two horns. And it says one was higher than the other. That's talking about the Medes, which the Medes came first, and the Persians came. They were mightier, right? And it says, and it had 3 ribs and the mouth of it between the feet of it. And the 3 ribs and the mouth of it, that's talking about the locations and the areas that they conquered. They came from the east. They went westward. Southward. They went westward, southward. I think it was north. They went northward, southward, and westward. All right. And actually, I'll get that. So we were reading Daniel 7, and because I want to make sure I'm saying it the right way. It says, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. Now it goes into the areas that they've conquered. Here it is right here. Daniel 8:3. This is going into the Medo-Persian Empire. It says, then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, see, which had 2 horns. See, so it was a ram with 2 horns, and the horns were high. See, the horns was high, but one was higher than the other. The one that was higher was the Persians. So you had the horns was high, but one was higher than the other, and the one that was the highest horn that is talking about, the one that was higher, was referring to the Persians. The Medes, you had the Medes, and then you had the Persians, right? It says, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. See, the higher that came up last, that's the Persians. So you had the Medes came first, and then the Persians, right? And I believe they came in the year 586 BCE. If I'm mistaken, elders, brothers, correct me, but I believe it's 586 BCE, right? And it says, I could be wrong, but brothers, correct me. But continuing, it says, verse 4, I saw the ram pushing westward. See, that's going to the locations that they went to. So they came from east, and it says the three ribs in the mouth of it. Remember, it says, I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward. Those are the locations that they conquered. The three ribs in the mount of it. The areas that they went and the areas that they conquered. That's what that's talking about. It says, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great, because they were mightier. The Medo-Persian Empire, they were mighty. And we're going to prove that that ram with two horns is talking about the Medo-Persian Empire. It says, Daniel 8:20, the ram which thou sawest had two horns, are the two kings of Media and Persia. See, so you had the Medes that came first, and then you had the Persians. So there you go. That proves what I'm saying. So now, let's go back and read it. Go back to the main point. Let's go back and read it now. Daniel 7:5, and behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side. Remember, we read about the ram. It had two high horns, but one was higher than the other. You had the Medes, and then you had the Persians. They were mightier, right? And it says, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it, right? We just talked about it. They went westward, northward, and southward. Those are three locations that they went, and they conquered those areas. It says, and they said thus unto it, arise and devour much flesh. They were mighty, they were great, right? Verse 6, it says, now this is going into the third beast. It says, and this I beheld, and lo, it says another like a leopard. And the leopard is referring to Alexander the Greek, right? And also the Greek Empire. That's what that's talking about. Which had upon the back of it four wings of the fowl, right? It says the beast had also four heads, and dominion was given to it. And the four beasts, which is also the four wings of the fowl, that's talking about the four generals of Alexander the Greek. Now he had many generals, but in this precept it just talks about the main four, which is Ptolemy, Cassander, Seleucus, and Lysimachus. Now Antigonus is also one of them, but it's talking about the main four, which is Ptolemy, Cassander, Seleucus, and Lysimachus. All right. Verse 7, it says, actually I got a precept for that too. Let's go to prove that it's talking about the Greek Empire, because we're going to go into Alexander the Great, because it said right here, Daniel 7:6, and after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. That's talking about Alexander the Great, and the Greek Empire. It says, which had upon the back of it four wings of fowl, and the beast had also four heads. And this is talking about the four major generals. It talks about Ptolemy, Cassander, Seleucus, and Lysimachus, right? And it says, and dominion was given to it. Dominion was given unto it. So let's go and let's get this understanding now. Because you had a thing where Alexander the Greek, he winded up dying, and then his generals, they winded up conquering over different parts of those areas, and they began to rule. But then you had the Diadochi Wars, where they started trying to take over each other's land. When you go into the Diadochi Wars, conquering certain areas, they started going up against each other. And this is First Maccabees 1:1. It says, and it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of Persians and Medes. See, so you had the Greek Empire. They took over the Medo-Persian Empire, right? The Medo-Persian Empire fell to the Greek Empire. The Greek Empire took over. It says that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Verse 2, it says, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. Because the Greek Empire, Alexander the Great, he conquered a lot of areas and he won many battles. Verse 3, it says, and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. Verse 4, and he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. Verse 5, and after these things he fell sick, because he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. So when he died, he reigned for 12 years. But when he died, his generals winded up conquering different areas. After he died, they split the areas up, and they all had different areas of them conquering. They shared among the share of Alexander the Great, but they wind up going up against each other when you go into Diadochi Wars, the generals of Alexander the Greek. It says, verse 5, and after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Verse 6, wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom, right? His kingdom among them, see, while he was yet alive. So Alexander, it says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and he died. He reigned for 12 years and he died. And his servants bare rule everyone in his place. You see that? And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them. Many years and evils were multiplied in the earth, because they all started conquering different areas and they split it among themselves after Alexander the Great passed. I'm just summing it up for those that don't understand. So now, when we go back to Daniel 7 and 6, this is talking about the Greek Empire, the rising of the Greek Empire. Daniel 7 and 6, after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of the fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given into it. So that's pretty much going to Alexander the Greek and the Greek Empire. Verse 7, after this I saw the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast. The 4th beast is talking about the Roman Empire. That's the 4th beast, right? The 4th beast is the Roman Empire. It says dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth, because it had great iron, the great iron might, right? It says, and devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, right? Because they grasped of the tactics of the other empires. They had the great iron, right? They had the other tactics that they took from the other kingdoms of the other empires, and they became great because of the great iron, right? It mentions of the great iron. It mentions the Roman Empire. When you read Daniel, the 2nd chapter, it talks about it, right? The 4th beast, which is the Roman Empire, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. You see that? So that's going into the Roman Empire. Verse 8, and I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, and that little horn is America, because ancient Rome fell, but it was rebuilt again in this place called America. Because when you read Revelations, the 17th chapter, it talks about the 7 heads, but America is the 8th head that came out among the 7 heads, right? It says, so that little horn is America, which came out of Great Britain, right? And it says, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And it says there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And what is this talking about? The roots that were plucked up, the 3 roots that was plucked up, that's talking about the French, the British, and the Spanish. Those are three of the first horns that were plucked by the roots: the French, the British, and the Spanish. And it says, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. And that's America. They brag about their military might. They brag about their might, right? So, hey, Lord willing, this lesson's edifying. Pretty much summed it up. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. And one more thing, too. I want to prove, too. Just go back to Daniel 7 and 6 real quick. This is Daniel 7 and 6. After this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which is just talking about Alexander the Greek, and also talking about the Greek Empire. And it says, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of the fowl, and the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given into it. When you go to Daniel, the 8th chapter, it also mentions the Greek Empire. And I believe it's yeah, it talks about that goat right there, right? Here it is right here. And it says, and though rough goat is the king of Grecia, that's talking about the Greek Empire, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king, right? And that goes to that goat there is talking about the Greek Empire, which goes to Alexander the Greek. So I just wanted to prove that. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honors and glories and praise to Yahweh Shema Shai B'Shem HaKadosh. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who will well and teach well, because those are the men who I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect. And shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the Servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Till the next time I say, shalom.